Welcome everyone. In this tutorial we are going to talk React Interview Basic to Advanced question. So let's get started. What is React? React is an open-source front-end JavaScript library which is used for building user interfaces, especially for single-page applications. It is used for handling view layer for web and mobile apps. React was created by Jordan Walk, a software engineer working for Facebook. React was first deployed on Facebook's newsfeed in 2011 and on Instagram in 2012. What are the major features of React? It uses virtual DOM instead of real DOM, considering that real DOM manipulations are expensive. Supports server-side rendering. Follows unidirectional data flow or data binding. Uses reusable, composable UI components to develop the view. What is JSX? It is a XML-like syntax extension to ECMAScript. The acronym stands for JavaScript XML. Basically, it just provides syntactic sugar for the React create element function, giving us expressiveness of JavaScript along with HTML-like template syntax. What is the difference between element and component? An element is a plain object describing what you want to appear on the screen in terms of the DOM nodes or other components. Elements can contain other elements in their props. Creating a React element is cheap. Once an element is created, it is never mutated. How to create components in React? Function components. This is the simplest way to create a component. Those are pure JavaScript functions that accept props object as first parameter and return React elements. Class components. You can also use ES6 class to define a component. The above class component can be written as below example. When to use a class component. If the component needs state or lifecycle methods, then use class component, otherwise use function component. However, from React 16.8 with the addition of hooks, you could use state, lifecycle methods and other features that were only available in class component right in your function component. What are pure components? React. Pure component is exactly the same as React component, except that it handles the should component update method for you. When props or state changes, pure component will do a shallow comparison on both props and state. Component, on the other hand, won't compare current props and state to next out of the box. Thus, the component will re-render by default whenever should component update is called. What is state in React? State of a component is an object that holds some information that may change over the lifetime of the component. We should always try to make our state as simple as possible and minimize the number of stateful components. What are props in React? Props are inputs to components. They are single values or objects containing a set of values that are passed to components on creation using a naming convention similar to HTML tag attributes. They are data passed down from a parent component to a child component. What is the difference between state and props? Both props and state are plain JavaScript objects. While both of them hold information that influences the output of render, they are different in their functionality with respect to component. Props get passed to the component similar to function parameters, whereas state is managed within the component similar to variables declared within a function. What are synthetic events in React? Synthetic event is a cross-browser wrapper around the browser's native event. Its API is same as the browser's native event, including stop propagation, and prevent a fault, except the events work identically across all browsers. What are inline conditional expressions? You can use either if statements or ternary expressions which are available from JS to conditionally render expressions. Apart from these approaches, you can also embed any expressions in JSX by wrapping them in curly braces and then followed by JS logical operator. What is the use of refs? The ref is used to return a reference to the element. They should be avoided in most cases, however, they can be useful when you need a direct access to the DOM element or an instance of a component. What is virtual DOM? The virtual DOM is an in-memory representation of real DOM. The representation of a UI is kept in memory and synced with the real DOM. It's a step that happens between the render function being called and the displaying of elements on the screen. This entire process is called reconciliation. What is the difference between shadow DOM and virtual DOM? The shadow DOM is a browser technology designed primarily for scoping variables and CSS in web components. The virtual DOM is a concept implemented by libraries in JavaScript on top of browser APIs. What is React Fiber? Fiber is the new reconciliation engine or re-implementation of core algorithm in React version 16. The goal of React Fiber is to increase its suitability for areas like animation, layout, gestures, ability to pause, abort, or reuse work and assign priority to different types of updates, and new concurrency primitives. What is the main goal of React Fiber? The goal of React Fiber is to increase its suitability for areas like animation, layout, and gestures. Its headline feature is incremental rendering, the ability to split rendering work into chunks and spread it out over multiple frames. What are controlled components? A component that controls the input elements within the forms on subsequent user input is called controlled component. Example as, every state mutation will have an associated handler function. What are uncontrolled components? The uncontrolled components are the ones that store their own state internally, and you query the DOM using a ref to find its current value when you need it. This is a bit more like traditional HTML.